This is your host, Daniel Ehrenberg, drinking a zesty lime seltzer here on episode number 111 of the franchise.
And welcoming you to episode 114.
Pretty good.
Yeah. It's Henry Pauly over here, also drinking a lime seltzer.
Is it zesty?
It's very zesty. It's a Schweppes.
No, but that's not zesty.
For me, it is.
But
like
Poland Spring says zesty on it.
That's a good point. I have to go somewhere kind of far to get Poland Spring seltzer down here. So
get out of that state.
Yeah. It's more like town.
What do you have there? Springsteen, nothing else. Okay. Rutgers, right. The rich hot girls of Montclair.
It's a beautiful state, as you acknowledged when you were down here for the
No, I know. I don't mind it there.
No. I hear you though. Mm-hmm. And I also have a coffee.
Oh, so, a coffee.
Yeah, I used to always have a coffee out here, like a giant thermos of it, but that got tiresome. So, but I have my cup of coffee in my New Yorker mug.
Oh, fancy schmance.
Mm-hmm.
I only own one mug because I don't drink much coffee.
Right.
I bought it at a Jewish flea market, and it has the logo for the show Cheers on it.
Hey, if you're gonna have one mug, I have many. By the way, that was a really, really bad impression of Eddie Murphy's laugh at the beginning. That was good.
Listen,
like George Lucas laughing.
Does he do that laugh in other movies?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. It's not a character choice.
No.
It is overdone in this movie. There's a lot of it.
Well, they make fun of it in the movie.
I know, and that made me laugh.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, hey, we're talking about Beverly Hills Cop today.
I'm excited.
We buried the lead. Not Eddie Murphy. He's still alive and well and making nobody laugh. So, listen. He's here. He's got a mustache. It is the early days yet of Eddie Murphy and, top of his game. Beverly Hills Cop.
Killing it.
So, I mean, he was on his run. He was already on SNL at this point. He'd already done 48 Hours in Trading Places.
Right.
And he gets hired here for Beverly Hills Cop. And this is his first franchise, although they later made a 48 Hours sequel.
That's right. That's right. And it's really his first lead role.
I think that's true. The other two were two-handers.
That's right.
And there's not really a second hand in this one. He's got Judge Reinhold and John Ashton hanging around. Yep. There's a lady nobody could possibly remember is in this movie.
I remembered her.
Okay. Why, you had a crush on her when you were a kid?
Oh, my God, yes.
Oh, boy. All right. But here
you weren't even born when this came out.
I was not born when this came out. And you know what? I think in the past week, because I haven't watched 2 and 3 yet, but I've done some reading about them. Mm-hmm. I don't think I ever saw them.
Really?
I think maybe I saw a couple scenes from them on TV, maybe on Comedy Central or something, but I'm pretty sure this first one was the only one I've seen in its entirety.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, that's how, with 3, I'm pretty sure I've never seen it. I might have, like you, seen 1 or 2 scenes. 2 I've seen many times, not nearly as many. This is one of the most watched movies of my life.
Not me. This is my second time ever seeing it.
Right.
And it was quite an experience. And I remembered it very different from how it is.
I haven't watched it in its entirety in probably 10 years. And there were some things in it that I wasn't remembering the same either. But this was a movie that I grew up on this, and as you know, I spent part of my childhood in Canada, and one of my distinct memories of this movie is it was the 80s, but nobody in Canada has much less restrictive laws on pretty much everything, and I remember just being able to go to the video store and I would rent this movie as like a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Every fucking weekend.
And then you'd go to the strip club that is depicted in the film.
That's right, because that's not restricted
either. They can take their underpants off.
Yeah, that's right. So this was one of my first movies where, like, I just was obsessed with it as a kid and watched it all the time.
What was it about it at that age?
I think Eddie Murphy was just so fucking cool.
I
wanted to be Axel Foley.
What was the year at this point? Was it as it was coming out?
When I watched it?
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't have been that early. I'm sure I came to it. I can't pinpoint the date. I'm sure I came to it probably in 87, 88.
Okay, so like Eddie Murphy still going strong at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it was really just like that. I loved that character. I loved everything about him. He was instrumental in teaching me how to swear.
A lot of cursing in this movie. I remembered this movie being more family friendly, which leads me to believe that I may have only ever seen this on television.
That's very possible because as a kid, I owned a television. I taped it off of television, and it's absurd. It's a completely different movie without the swearing. And along with like Chevy Chase and Eddie Murphy and Bill Murray, those were like, I'd say those are my three shaping comedic heroes.
Sure. Well, you're a child of the 80s.
That's right.
They were the big three, probably.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it, and as I was watching the movie last night, I was looking at it, and I was just like, yeah, I got into them so much that characters like Fletch and Peter Venkman and Axel Foley like shaped so much of my humor. Like there are moments in Beverly Hills Cop I'm like, I do that. I have reactions like that and pauses like that, and it's so ridiculous because it's like probably at the time I was more into the swearing, but now I've realized it's like become a part of my being, and so it's just like complete. You know what I mean by that?
We talked about this a little bit with Mike Bloom, like the development of like your comedic persona as a child, because he was a child of the '90s. He's a younger fella than both of us. And he was saying like Robin Williams and Jim Carrey were like his boys back then, and I think there's some truth to that. Listening to him on podcasts, you could kind of hear those rhythms. For me, I was into like weirder movies. I mean, sure, I watched Jim Carrey movies and stuff, but like probably in the early going for me, weirdly, like Jason Lee was really important to my voice.
Oh,
or like
I said, you remind me of.
Yeah, or Matthew Perry, maybe. Like I loved Friends back then, and
it's the difference between like quoting a movie ad nauseum and a movie like becoming a part of your personality.
That's
almost.
right.
That's what we're talking about.
And that doesn't really happen. That doesn't really happen as an adult. It happened way more as a kid, to the point where like when I first got into Mitch Hedberg, the stand-up comedian, I talked like that for months. I just talked like Mitch Hedberg, to the point where I remember I did a presentation on Vietnam during that period in my English class, weirdly, because I think we were doing the things they carried. And
I read that.
And I did the whole presentation in Mitch Hedberg's voice just because I was listening to him so much, and I got points off my presentation because she said I had a, quote, silly voice.
I'm sure that's true.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Yeah. So very formative movie for me, but very refreshing to watch it for this show because I had never owned it on DVD or Blu-ray.
That's insane to me.
Because my when I moved out of the Bronx and we moved in together, as you recall, I scrapped my videos because we didn't have enough room. So I always had it on video, and I just never bought it, I think, because it was one of those movies that I just almost never needed to own because I'd seen it like 700 times, and normally that wouldn't dissuade me, but I just didn't need it, so now I bought it on Blu-ray.
I had movies like that. I can actually relate to that. There are certain movies that I didn't own forever just because I'd seen a million times, and then like I went through a spree a few years ago where I was like, I should just buy those fucking movies. So like I remember around the same time I bought like Billy Madison and Clue the movie, just shit I never felt like I needed to own before.
Right. I don't own Pulp Fiction.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I need to get that. I have a bunch of other Tarantino movies, but I don't have that one. So it just anyway.
I don't own Kill Bill because
you love that,
and I love those movies, and it's because they always said they were going to release like the big box set, The Whole Bloody Affair, and they kind of never did, and so I never bought them.
I own almost every one of his on DVD or Blu-ray except for Pulp Fiction. So
I think I only own the first 3, maybe. Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and Jackie Brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Interesting stuff, gang. Not really. Okay. Henry, we ranked every Eddie Murphy movie.
Yeah, man. That was fun and
sad.
Sad.
Here's what you'll forget about Eddie Murphy. Like I totally forgot this because he had a run where he was king of the world. He was one of the, and you know what? Okay, so the thing you'll forget about Eddie Murphy is he's only in like 3 good movies.
That's not true, but okay. It's more than that, but
maybe
it's not
4?
as much as I thought.
Like it's crazy. Like and the reason I have seen something like 27 or 28 Eddie Murphy movies.
Oh, really?
And the reason is,
oh my God,
he's such a talent that you just keep seeing these shitty movies, just waiting for like the couple moments of inspired brilliance from this guy.
Yeah, that's interesting. No, I had not. I had a cutoff. My cutoff was about 20 years ago.
See, my cutoff was more recently. The most recent Eddie Murphy release that I have seen, Henry, is Shrek the Third, which came out 11 years ago.
My most recent was Tower Heist.
I skipped that one.
But before that and after that, huge gaps. And I'm not really even sure why I watched that. I'm sure it was just on demand, and
I think it had a pretty good cast, right?
And it wasn't the Nutty Professor or one of his.
Because it didn't seem like an Eddie Murphy vehicle. It was like, he's like lending his talents to this movie. Let's see what goes on. Because for a while there, like everything he was in, it was just like the cover of the movie poster was just like Eddie Murphy's head. Right. And the premise of the movie was like Eddie Murphy's going to do some dumb shit for 90 minutes.
Exactly.
So like, there's stuff like Imagine That and Meet Dave.
So you've seen 27 movies?
Something like that. Let me go to my last placer right here. And
I've seen 16.
I've seen 27.
Wow. Mm-hmm. You're going to be talking for a while. I like it.
Okay. Do you want to get into this list?
Sure.
All right. So, like I said, you're going to be hearing little bits and bobs about a lot of movies that I fucking hated.
Yeah.
But I stuck with him. So the story of Eddie Murphy is, he got his start on SNL, and he was during the non-Lorne Michaels years. And then he made a film career. He got into some great movies. He was a huge boon to the comedy community. He discovered the Wayanses. He discovered Chris Rock. And then he got a chance to direct a movie, and it was Harlem Nights, and it tanked. And then he decided, no one will ever see me be funny ever again.
I think so. Yeah. And then he got into this. I always remember my kind of checking out on him coincided with this weird thing that I think you're right. Went with not only that image, but then he like around like 89, 90, something like around Another 48 Hours, which I've also never seen.
I've never seen that either. I've skipped a ton of his like sequels because I realized I've not seen the Beverly Hills Cop sequels. And I never saw like Dr. Dolittle 2, and he's made some sequels.
Well, what I was going to say was he decided also to get really buff. And that's like a weird noticeable thing. I remember being like a teenager and seeing him in like Boomerang.
Yeah,
and I was
totally.
like, why did he do that? Like it really changed his like persona.
It changed his voice.
Yeah, like he didn't look the same, he didn't act the same. He was always funny for being very confident and cocky, but in a kind of endearing way. And then he just became cocky. And that's what happened with like Boomerang and this Distinguished Gentleman.
And then he started just making kids movies.
Right. I mean, there's a couple
has
of
he made
exceptions in the
has he
90s.
made a movie since 1995 without a fart joke in it? That's the question. That's the question I'm posing to you right now. Maybe Dreamgirls.
Well, I'm looking at my list here, and there's like 2 movies that are on here that I remember liking because he was kind of, one was Life with Martin Lawrence.
Come on, you're ruining the list.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
We'll talk about them as they come.
All right. Go ahead.
All right. Because I agree with that on Life. All right. Here's the list, Henry. So you'll pipe in when we get to 16?
Well, yeah, I mean, I might.
How is this you, Henry Papali, and you've only seen 16 Eddie Murphy movies?
I guess we're going to find out.
All right.
Yeah.
Number 27, Henry. The worst Eddie Murphy movie. Just saying something.
Yeah.
Here it is, a film he wrote, his passion project of the 2000s, probably lost an Oscar for him, Norbit.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number 20. Yep. Number 26. Some interesting production design here, but Jesus Christ, dude. The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
Nice. You saw that.
Yep.
All right.
Saw all these. Number 25, a movie I rewatched a couple months ago, Henry.
For your rewatch project?
For my rewatch project, and it honestly made me question whether Eddie Murphy was ever funny. It really did, to the point where, like, watching Beverly Hills Cop was like, oh, okay, yeah, he was. Like, it was a relief.
Yeah.
All right, sure. This movie is The Haunted Mansion.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Number 24, Shrek the Third.
Ooh.
He's Donkey.
Yeah, right.
Oh, Donkey.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
No love for my Mike Myers impression.
What's that?
No love for my Mike Myers impression? Are you just not paying attention?
I'm paying. You're breaking up.
All right. Number 23, I'll just put it right next to Shrek the Third. Shrek 2.
All right. Didn't see it.
Number 22, another sequel. The Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps. All right? Are you listening to me? Can you hear me?
No, Rent Boy, forget it.
All right, we're back. Technical Diffs gang. It is raining, and Henry does not get internet in the rain.
It's a massive thunderstorm I'm getting here, folks. Sorry. Yes, might be affecting the Wi-Fi.
Number 21, Henry. Slightly better than Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps.
Okay.
All right. Here it is, a team-up with Robert De Niro.
Oh, yeah.
Showtime.
I did see that.
Okay, that's on your list.
Yeah.
All right, number 20. Here's the top 20 Eddie Murphy movies. Number 20, the Dr. Dolittle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Better than Showtime. All right.
It is. It's a little better than Showtime. Okay. Number 19, Showtime is just like one of those movies at the time that was like terrified of reality television.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I can't stand that fucking trope, like Ed TV. Just movies in the late 90s and early 2000s were just like, oh my God, they're going to film people? Ooh!
It's a hot topic, like the .com movies.
Yeah. Number 19 here, a Wes Craven misfire, The Vampire in Brooklyn.
Oh, never saw it.
Yeah, it's like... So actually, full title, just Vampire in Brooklyn.
Right.
So it's one of these movies where, like, I'm not sure what they were going for. Like, it's not a comedy.
Right.
But it was pitched as a comedy.
That's John Carpenter, isn't it?
It's Wes Craven. I said that already, but you probably couldn't hear me over the rain.
That's right.
It's, a movie that is kind of just a straight vampire tale.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make sense for Eddie Murphy.
No.
Yeah.
I remember skipping it. All I remember about that movie is David Spade. That's the joke that got him in trouble with Eddie.
Oh, what's the joke?
He put on Hollywood Minute, he put up a picture of that poster, and he said, quick, children, make a wish on a falling star.
Nice. Is that why, like, Eddie Murphy did not come back to SNL until SNL 40?
I mean, I think there were other reasons, but he definitely let Spade know that it wasn't cool, and I think Spade was pretty upset by it.
Well, hey, look who's laughing now. David Spade, he's got movies on Crackle.
I saw one on Netflix, right?
Yeah, he's got a new one. Father Figure, Father of the Year, something like that. Yeah. Number 18, The Nutty Professor.
Okay. All right.
All right. Now, number 17, and this will upset Henry. Here it is, The Golden Child.
Yeah, you're a maniac. Fucking maniac. When was the last time you saw that movie?
I was probably in high school.
Yeah, so it's been a long time for you.
Yeah, it's the only misfire of his, like, 80s work.
Sure, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that was 17?
That's 17. Pipe in, Henry.
All right. This is coming in last because I remember it being sort of my real disappointment breaking point with him, even though it's probably not worse than some other things on here. In fact, I know it isn't, but I don't care. It was such a letdown. The Distinguished Gentleman.
I've never seen that.
Okay.
So that is not on my list. I don't even know what it's about.
It's one of those black guy goes to a Washington type things.
Black guy goes to Washington.
Yeah.
Is that a Frank Capra film?
Yeah. For sure.
More like Frank Blackgrove. So.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
They wanted Billy Crystal, but they ran out of shoe polish. So.
Oh my God. Yeah, good call. Number 16 for me is another Eddie team up. He likes to do these periodically. And that is he's playing the old Bill Cosby role in I Spy opposite Owen Wilson.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
You really saw a lot of this stuff.
I stuck with him forever. I was a fan.
But it makes sense more for you because you grew up with him later. So that was like, for me, I was done, burnt out. Like it was over, like early. For you, these were still like, what were you, 10 when The Nutty Professor came out?
Yeah, I mean, I probably saw The Nutty Professor like before I saw like Coming to America and Trading Places. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So my number 15 is the team up Showtime.
All right. My number 15 is Shrek. The first Shrek. Donkey!
Yeah.
Go ahead.
My number 14 was another one in the same category as The Distinguished Gentleman, which I also hated. The turnaround for him as a person. Boomerang, no pun intended.
Okay. My number 14, and, it's pretty boring, but I think it's got some decent stuff in there, and I'm pretty sure Michael Rappaport is good in it, if I'm remembering it correctly. It's Metro.
Yeah. Higher on my list. Yeah. My number 13 is The Nutty Professor.
Okay.
Had moments.
Pretty high.
Well, we're only 4 in for me.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've been doing this for a year.
Yeah.
Number 13 we're up to?
Yep.
All right, let me find my number 13 on here. I've got them in chronological order.
Well, no, my 13 was Nutty Professor, so you're probably at 12. Yeah.
Did I say my number 13?
I believe you did.
No, I didn't. My 14 was Metro. Yeah, so your 13 is Nutty Professor. My 13 is a little movie that nobody liked, but I thought was kind of watchable. Jeff Goldblum was good in it. Holy man.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, didn't see it. My number 12.
By the way, I've mentioned like 15 Eddie Murphy movies, and I still have not reached one that I think is a good movie.
Yeah, right. True. My number 12 is Shrek.
Shrek. Okay. My number 12, a movie that I've inexplicably seen 3 times, even though I have never seen either of the Beverly Hills Cop sequels, is Daddy Daycare.
Jesus Christ.
Listen, I was working at Blockbuster at the time. We were only allowed to play PG movies.
Oh.
And when that movie came out, I found it to be an enjoyable thing to watch 5 minutes of every so often.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't, comment really. My number 11, I really haven't seen this movie in a very long time, but I mean, I have to say I do remember it being terrible. I'd like to give it another shot though, but Harlem Nights.
It has its moments.
Yeah, you've probably seen it more recently than me. I think
Yeah.
it's been over 20 years easily.
My number 11 is Boomerang.
Oh, okay. All right. My number 10 is Tower Heist.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty
Tower
bad.
Heist in the top 10.
Well, yeah, I didn't like it.
All right, my top 10 begins with his dramatic turn in Dreamgirls.
I never saw Dreamgirls.
Mm.
No. Yeah. My number 9, I remember when this came out, I watched it on TV, and it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it's still not very good. Bowfinger.
Hey, okay. My number 9 is Harlem Nights.
Oh, all right. Hi. My number 8 is Metro. I remember liking Metro.
Okay.
That was an inoffensive.
That's the best he can say. It is inoffensive.
Yeah, I mean, he's just playing a cop. He's kind of being old Eddie there. He gets to be himself, and it was kind of a refreshing.
A little bit. It's kind of too much of an action movie.
Very much so.
Honestly, like before we get to Beverly Hills Cop, that's a problem I have a couple times with Beverly Hills Cop too. I kind of wish it was more a straight comedy.
Well,
but
okay,
all
we'll
right.
get there.
We're up to 8.
Yeah, I just did 8.
Okay, my number 8, Henry, is Eddie Murphy Raw.
Oh, I didn't include the comedy.
Yeah,
special.
I did. I've never seen Delirious, but Raw was a theatrical release, so I included it. Listen, you gotta fast forward right past those first 20 minutes where he says the gay slur that starts with F about 1,000 times.
Look, man, Raw only has a couple of good moments. That was a big disappointment. Want to rewatch? I rewatched it like 10 years ago. I actually own it now. I bought it, and that was a disappointment. I think Delirious is better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do. The Bill Cosby routine in Raw is great. And the Richard Pryor stuff. But other than that, it's kind of a bust. It's just not that good.
Okay.
So I didn't include those on my list. I didn't think we would, but you're probably right to do so. My number 7 is Life.
Okay.
I remember that being surprisingly good.
One of my father's favorite movies of all time, inexplicably. Really? Yes.
Well, it's a good movie. I recall it being very good.
I know, but that's a little much. Number 7. My number 7 is his turn as a wisecracking dragon in the Disney animated film Mulan.
Oh, wow. Jesus. All right. Because Mulan you liked better than The Golden Child.
I know you're like chuckling at that, but yes, I did.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, number 6, and this is where we get into, in my opinion, his 6 great movies.
Not there yet for me.
Right. For me, the 6 great movies. And of course, I haven't watched it, so it'll be next week. But Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Okay, interesting. That's high.
Sure.
Okay. My number 6 is the aforementioned Bowfinger, which I think has some very good moments.
All right. And
heavy hitters.
Well,
these are the grand slams, the slap shots, the three-pointers, the touchdowns, the curling when the puck gets close to the circle. These are the heavy hitters of the franchise. Heavy hitters.
These cannot be argued. This was very, very hard for me.
These cannot be argued.
This is very hard for me. Number 5, Trading Places.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's get into it. This is the fun part of the countdown.
Oh, yeah.
My number 5 is Life.
Oh, whoa! Surprising me there.
Yeah.
You played that one close to the vest. I like that. Okay. All right. My number 4 is 48 Hours.
My number 4 is 48 Hours.
Oh, look at that. One match.
Mm-hmm.
My number 3 is The Beloved Golden Child.
Wow. Okay. Better than Trading Places.
No, these top 5 for me, I could really switch any of them around. Oh, any
wow,
of them around.
I heard that shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of dealing with here.
All right.
That was the mysticism of the Golden Child backing me up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great special effects in that film.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. They are.
My number 3
Yeah.
is Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, all right. That's my number 2.
My number 2 is Trading Places.
Yeah. Totally valid. I think we're going to have the same number 1 movie Eddie Murphy
and
of all time.
And I'm a little bit surprised because I thought yours would be Beverly Hills Cop, honestly. And
it was tough.
Yeah, so you went with Coming to America.
Yeah,
yeah,
I did.
So did I. I love that movie. It's easily my most rewatched Eddie Murphy movie. I kind of like every scene in it.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece, and I mean, you know, as much as and we'll get into it, as much as I love Beverly Hills Cop, as a whole movie, I think Coming to America is just about perfect. And but
it's funny. I realized I wouldn't give a single one of these movies a 5.
Oh, spoiler alert! Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Coming to America is number 1 for me, and it's a solid 4. And I would give probably at least 10 of these movies a 1.
Why wouldn't you give Coming to America a 5-star? I mean, we're never going to talk about that movie otherwise. So.
I mean, I don't know. I just don't think it's perfect. The love interest is somewhat underwritten. It's got Eddie Murphy doing his I'm gonna dress up as other people shtick for the first time, and it's just like a little less hard edged. I like the hard edged Eddie Murphy of 48 Hours and Beverly Hills Cop. So I mean, I just don't think it's a perfect movie.
I thought maybe 48 Hours would be your number 1.
No, it just doesn't totally work for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll cover it eventually.
Yeah, listen, if the one thing you can say about Eddie Murphy, he's a fucking franchise guy. Yeah, so I mean, we can cover him down the line in that Dr. Dolittle, Nutty Professor, even Daddy Daycare got a theatrically released sequel where they recast the part of Eddie Murphy.
Awesome.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Of course.
Yeah, Shrek. Are we missing any? He has so many.
I don't think we are. I'm looking at my thing. I don't think so, but
yeah, I guess not. But still, that's a lot of shit.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we agreed on the number 1 movie. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
right. Let's get into Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. 1984.
1984. Directed by Martin Brest. A somewhat reclusive filmmaker who used to come out of the woodwork every 5 years or something and make a film. I think he's tremendously overrated.
Well, is he even? I mean, is that even an adjective that would apply to him? Does that work?
Absolutely, it's an adjective.
Really?
Because I remember when Meet Joe Black came out in 1998. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, everyone was like, "Oh my God, it's Martin Brest's downfall!" It was his first ever misstep.
Well, I think that's because of the prior movie was The Scent of a Woman, which everybody fucking loved.
Yeah, but that's what he was going for again with Meet Joe Black. I think Meet Joe Black, before it came out, got a lot of Oscar buzz because it seemed like, it was probably time to give Brad Pitt an Oscar nomination around that time.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen, and
he already had an Oscar nomination.
Yeah, what 12 Monkeys?
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, for me, Martin Brest he made 2 great movies, 2 of my favorite comedies of all time. And so that was what he was to me. That was it. I didn't really associate him with continuing to make stuff, but, Beverly Hills Cop and Midnight Run. So,
Midnight Run, I just don't have the same affection for that you do, but I've only
never saw it.
I know. I think I saw like pieces of it on TV or something. I've never seen it in its entirety. Work. Yeah. It's a movie a lot of people love.
Right.
Noted television critic Alan Sepinwall's favorite film. For some reason, I remember that. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah.
But Martin Brest, whatever. He's remembered.
He's an interesting guy. I had on my Blu-ray, I watched some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. They had some extras on there, which I'd never seen. From 2001, they filmed them, and it's pretty interesting. You said he was reclusive, and I mean, I don't know anything about the guy, and I don't know about that, but I got the impression from the interviews when he's talking about the movie, he's extraordinarily exacting and particular. But it was also fascinating to know, and we'll get into it when we talk about the movie, but how much I did not know how much improvisation is in the movie. Never had a clue that a lot of my favorite scenes were not written. And I'm not just talking about Eddie Murphy's scenes. So interesting stuff. You weren't listening to any of that, were you?
Yes, I was. Improvisation. I got it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. My phone is blowing up.
Maybe you should turn your notifications off when we record.
Maybe you should get a better laptop.
I just got a new laptop, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I'll just talk to Zeus and have him stop the weather.
All right. Leave me alone. All right. So Martin Brest, he got his start. His first film was Going in Style, which I've never seen.
Me neither. Yeah.
Then what was that movie he got fired off of?
Oh, I don't know.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't. I'm looking at his filmography, but like I said, I don't know that answer. He's only got like a
but there was a thing when in like the early 80s, like before Beverly Hills Cop, he was like directing a movie. It was, you know what it was? War Games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was directing War Games, and he got fired in the middle of filming of that movie, and then he was like fucking damaged goods in Hollywood. Like nobody wanted to hire this dude. His career was dead in the water.
Huh.
And for some reason, Jerry Bruckheimer, didn't he produce Beverly Hills Cop?
Yeah, him and Don Simpson, they loved the guy.
Right, they like had some faith in this guy. They saw something in him, and Beverly Hills Cop was like his redemption. Like if Beverly Hills Cop failed, Martin Brest never would have worked again.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. I know from like I said, from the documentary that they were huge on him. They really, I think they just really liked him as a person, and but obviously there's no mention, of course, that his career was, going to tank or was in the tank.
Yeah. All right. So after Beverly Hills Cop, he did Midnight Run. And after Midnight Run, he decided he wanted to do something a little more serious. He made a 2.5-hour movie about Al Pacino going, ah!
Yeah. Oh,
and
I've never made it through that movie.
I have.
I never will.
It sucks. Son of a woman.
Oof.
God, that scene where he goes out into the street blind, though, is really... It's probably the funniest thing Martin Brest has ever directed.
Shut up. This is a really dumb question. I'm sorry, but he won, right? Al Pacino for that?
He did. He won an Oscar for that.
Who did he beat? I mean, I bet he beat 4 great performances. There's no other... It has to be that way. Whenever that happens, it has to be... Huh?
Do you want to look it up right now?
Yeah. I'm curious because that's just... Oh, my God. What a bunch of bullshit.
1993 Oscars. Let's look them up. Wiki. Fucking hell. It's taking forever. All right. Winners and nominees. Here he is. Al Pacino. He won. Here's the other nominees. You ready for this? Oh my God. Okay.
I know it.
Yeah, Henry. All right. So you got your Robert Downey Jr. as Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, okay.
You've got your Clint Eastwood in Unforgiven. You got your Stephen Ray for The Crying Game.
Oh.
And I've saved the best for last.
Uh-oh. I have no idea.
Yeah, Denzel Washington from Malcolm X.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's the one. That's what made me think that. Okay.
That is so
that's
fucking
notorious.
funny.
That's famous. Yeah. That's one of the worst snubs in history in the Oscars.
It's got to be. It might be the worst decision Oscar voters have ever made.
That's a fine point. I mean, along with Crash winning Best Picture, that's pretty.
I think
there.
this is worse.
Yeah.
Crash beating like Brokeback Mountain is bad, but like.
Well, it's very personal when it's an actor. It's like, holy shit.
It's Denzel Washington, one of the best, probably one of the top 5 actors in film history.
Yeah.
All right?
Well, so is Al Pacino, but...
Sure, but
yes,
it's Denzel Washington
right.
in his defining role.
Yeah, I know. Oh, wow. Oh, I'd be so pissed. He must have been so fucking pissed. Oh,
Imagine Spike Lee's reaction. I mean,
listen, baby. I
mean, Spike Lee still gets mad at the Cannes Film Festival because they didn't give Do the Right Thing the Palme d'Or or something.
That's right. I'm going to see Black Klansman tonight.
I saw it yesterday.
Ooh, and
it's a masterpiece.
I love it.
5 stars. It's better than every movie Eddie Murphy was ever in.
I'm excited.
It's really fantastic. I saw 3 movies yesterday, Henry.
Jesus.
I
saw one. Yeah.
I went to go see The Meg.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
And
new shark movie. It was
5
enjoyable.
stars?
No, 3.
Okay.
It was enjoyable.
Okay.
I liked it. Jason Statham's pretty badass in it.
All right.
And I saw Slenderman.
I would see that. I would see. Is it terrible? Is it not even worth like a nice little horror escape?
No, it's not.
Really?
It is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in theaters. It's like it's so bad that it's like crazy to me that it's even showing in theaters.
Okay, guess I'll. You know what? I might listen to you and just skip it.
It's fucking amazing. It's like, and it's funny because like it's not a bad premise. I saw Beware the Slenderman,
Me too.
The doc, and that's great. And
yeah, it was.
I do think like with this particular piece of intellectual property, maybe a Blumhouse could have done something with it.
Sure.
But this piece of shit, man. They got the guy who directed the direct-to-DVD third Always Know What You Did Last Summer movie.
Oh.
And it is just garbage. I kind of was interested in it because I like a couple of the young actresses. Mm-hmm. There's Joey King, who I loved earlier this year in the great Netflix rom-com The Kissing Booth.
Never saw that, never heard of her. Yeah.
Hey, you ever at home, Henry? It's late night. Netflix, you want something that's pretty fun, kind of stupid. If you fall asleep on it, no big deal.
Yeah, I don't go for rom-coms for that type of thing, but
Kissing Booth. That's a recommendation to all you out there. I'd like to plug it. And it also had Juliana Goldani Tellis, who played Sasha, the very snide bunhead on Bunheads. And also Dominic West's hot daughter over there on The Affair.
Yeah, I'll be skipping Slenderman, I guess.
There's this one scene where in The Affair where Dominic West's at this party, right? And he goes over the hot tub. He's looking at this chick, checking her out from behind. And then she turns around. It's his daughter.
Oh. Ooh. Ugh.
The Affair, great show. Currently in its penultimate season, another big recommend from your boy, the D-Train.
Yeah, I want to see that. I've seen the first 3 or 4 episodes, but that was because I had Showtime free for a week, and then I couldn't see it. So I'll watch it eventually. Yeah.
Okay. Henry.
You said the third movie. You said 3.
Oh, that's right. No, I said The Meg, Black Klansman, and Slenderman.
Yeah. I saw Ant-Man and the Wasp.
What'd you think?
I loved it.
Yeah, it's really fun, right?
It was great.
Good
I liked
time.
It more than the first one. I thought it was really, really good. Yep. All right.
Okay. Where were we at? Beverly Hills Cop, right.
1984.
So this had a weird development process. Penn Paramount exec Don Simpson first came up with the idea in 1977, a movie about a cop in Beverly Hills.
Yeah, and there's like in the doc I watched, there's like 3 people who claim that they came up with the idea, which is really funny.
All right, well,
Jerry Bruckheimer dismisses the fact that Michael Eisner of Disney said it was his idea.
Well, Michael Eisner has said everything's his idea, man.
Is that right?
Yeah, I saw this documentary called Waking Sleeping Beauty about like the Disney Renaissance of the late 80s and early 90s. And, fucking everything that Jeffrey Katzenberg ever did, Michael Eisner takes credit for.
Nice.
All right, so the original script was written by a fella named Danilo Bach,
yes,
who kind of went on to not have much of a career. He's probably best remembered for co-writing, or maybe I think he just wrote it himself, April Fool's Day.
Jeez.
A great 80s slasher movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Check it out, gang. And then they hired Mickey Rourke.
Right.
He was attached for a while. The movie was called Beverly Drive.
Right.
And he was he signed on to play a character named Ellie Axel. All right. The movie took too long in development. Rourke booked out. And then they hired Sylvester Stallone to rewrite it and star in it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So
he rewrote it, and he renamed the character Axel Cobretti. And years later, he would finally fulfill his dream of making this movie. And they used most of the ideas in the script to make Cobra.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which I rewatched recently.
Yeah.
Fucking great.
Yeah, I would totally watch that.
It's one of Sylvester Stallone's best movies.
I believe you. Brigitte Nielsen's in that, right?
Yeah, and she's incredible.
Yeah, I'd like to see that again.
And you know who else is fucking awesome in that? Character actor Brian Thompson playing the villain in it.
Oh, I don't know if I remember him.
He's fucking awesome. Okay, so Stallone finally leaves, and they get the bright idea to rebrand it as a comedy and hire Eddie Murphy.
Yep.
And that's what it comes to us here. It was finally released December 5th, 1984, Christmas season. Budget of $15 million, and it was a massive hit. It came in $316.4 million.
Jesus.
All right?
Wow. Yeah.
That is a lot of money.
That's insane. I mean, in 1984, for a movie like this... wow.
It was the number 1 movie of 1984 at the box office.
Yeah, I saw that, and that surprised me too, because I would have probably said that the number 1 would have been, I know we've probably done this year
Ghostbusters.
Before. Yeah, Ghostbusters or Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
I would have thought, yeah.
But no, it's Beverly Hills Cop.
That's great.
This was a fucking hit, yo.
Yeah.
All right. It was a very successful movie, got good reviews too. I'd like to talk about some of the awards it has won and been nominated for.
Okay.
Nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
I thought you have a new Oscar theme.
Yes.
That was your cue.
Oh, okay. Yes. Here we go. I had to find it there. So this is a special theme to me. So let's do that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'd like to thank everybody for listening to the franchise. And I just got started. I really quickly, I'd like to thank Daniel Ehrenberg. We would have never had this idea without him. I'd like to thank Mom and Dad and everybody around me, especially for coming up with the idea, and all our listeners. And okay.
Boy. All right.
That's the.
That was a clusterfuck, but we'll work on it.
Well, that was my idea. It's called being played off the stage.
I get it.
Didn't work?
Was I supposed to play you off the stage?
No, I played myself.
I heard it. I heard it. It was okay. Nominated.
Well, then, take comfort in this. There's another Oscar theme.
Okay, good. I heard that. Was that Thunder?
Yes.
All right. Nominated for Best Original Screenplay, Henry.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
But it lost to a film called Places in the Heart. All right. I guess Sally Field was in that. Was that the one where you like me, you really like me? Was that those Oscars?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, nominated for a couple of Golden Globes.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Continue. Say what they are.
No, theme.
They're in different file cabinets.
I hate you.
No.
You have to be ready for these, man. If you're going to do these themes.
How do I know when you're going to bring
cues.
stuff up?
I'm talking about award season here.
Yeah, but I don't have like a fucking switchboard. All right, here we go. Any second now. Here we go.
It's the GGs, the Golden Globes. It's the Hollywood Foreign Press, mostly French.
Okay.
It was worth it. I'll give it that.
Yeah, you like that theme.
I do.
Yeah, I was getting a little experimental with the Oscar theme. But it's okay. I got it now. I got ready because I don't know what else is coming. There might be some other shit you're gonna say. So,
good.
Yeah.
Listen, it was nominated for Best Comedy or Musical.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
It lost
to
Romancing the Stone.
Ooh. Yeah.
A good movie, not as good as Beverly Hills Cop.
Fuck no.
Yeah. Eddie Murphy, Henry, was not. Did you just burp into the mic again?
Stop.
That's becoming a habit.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row of me belching and 2 weeks in a row of your phone blowing up.
All right. You're right. I'm sorry.
Touche.
Eddie Murphy was nominated for Best Actor in a Musical or Comedy. All right?
Yeah.
He lost.
God.
All right.
Oh, Lord.
Who do you think he lost to?
Here it comes.
Who do you think he lost to?
I don't have a clue because I don't. Yeah.
I'll give you a couple of the other people who lost in that category.
Well, wait. Let me get. Please. I know this isn't possible, but please tell me Bill Murray was nominated.
Bill Murray was nominated for Ghostbusters. He did not win.
No, I know, but at least he was not. Okay, good.
Steve Martin was nominated for All of Me. I think one of his best performances. He lost too.
Wow.
I'll tell you, the winner that year of the Best Actor in a Comedy or Musical was, that's right, Dudley Moore, for a movie I've never heard of called Mickey and Maude.
Oh my God, I've heard of it.
What is that movie?
I have no idea, but I've heard of it. Oh my God, Bill Murray, Steve Martin, and Eddie Murphy. That's incredible.
This is Blake Edwards directed it. I'm pretty sure I thought he was probably dead by 1984, but all right. And it is Dudley Moore. He's a bigamist who must keep his wives from meeting each other, which becomes tricky when they're both pregnant. Sounds like a door-slamming farce.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah,
it sure does.
It's a real Frasier situation.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, there's a screen cap on the IMDb, and I'm looking at Andre the Giant, so it can't be all bad.
Okay. Has some redeeming qualities.
Yeah. All right. Now, it won the People's Choice Award for Favorite Motion Picture.
I don't have a theme for that.
I'm just saying, favorite motion picture. People loved it.
Right.
And it is on one of the lists from our old friends, the American Film Institute.
All right.
Let's hear the first ever theme.
That's right.
Yeah. Beverly Hills Cop is the number 63 funniest movie ever made. All right?
63. Okay.
Yeah. All right. You want to do our 84 list?
Sure.
Hey, I have an extra wrinkle for these lists. We can do it before or after we do ours. Or, I mean, during or after. So, it was my birthday this past week.
Right.
And I run a meeting of Smart Recovery, which is an AA-like meeting for alcoholics and addicts.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my people that goes to the meeting regularly knows that I like movies. That's like the one thing they know about me.
Sure.
And he got me. He didn't buy it. He found it in his house as a birthday present. This book called The Greatest Movies of All Time. It is a collector's edition, Henry, published by Blockbuster Video in the year of our Lord, 1989. And he purchased this in 1989 for $2.95. And now it has been re-gifted to me. And what it has, Henry, is Blockbuster Video's top 10 lists for every year dating back to 1927.
Wow.
Now, of course, it only goes up to 1989.
Right.
So I can't do this for every year, but I do have Blockbuster's 1984 top 10.
Dude, that's pretty cool.
And, but it goes in alphabetical order. They're not numbered.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to read these out as we go in reverse alphabetical order.
Okay.
All right. Now, what?
Wow.
What is your number?
That's a kind of a cool gift, I gotta say.
It's all right. What's your number 10 of the year?
Can I say my honorable mentions?
Fine.
Gremlins, The Terminator, The Cotton Club, Splash, and Secret Honor.
All right. Mine are Purple Rain, Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter, Dune, 16 Candles, Stop Making Sense, The Killing Fields, and Love Streams.
Oh, all right.
All right.
Good stuff. Number 10, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
My number 10 is Body Double.
Yes.
And Blockbuster's number 10 is The Terminator.
Sure.
All right.
Sure. My number 9 is Broadway Danny Rose.
My number 9 is A Nightmare on Elm Street. And Blockbuster's number 9. Wow, what a difference. It's Stop Making Sense.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. They must have had one nerd on their staff who was just like, guys, you gotta put this on here, okay?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Here, I'll read you a couple of things. Under the term, first of all, it gives you the Blockbuster category. All right, where you can find them in the store, and there's a little write up. Under the Terminator, it says Director Cameron is the modern day master of sci-fi adventure with Aliens in the Abyss to his credit. Yeah, he hadn't done T2 yet. No. And under Stop Making Sense, it says the video version contains 3 extra numbers. All right.
Helpful hint.
Yeah. What's your number 8?
Moscow on the Hudson.
My number 8 is Broadway Danny Rose.
All right.
By the way, I think Robin Williams was also nominated for that award that Dudley Moore won.
No way.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I know. My number 8 is Broadway Danny Rose. Blockbuster Video's number 8 is A Soldier's Story, a very early Denzel performance.
Oh, yeah. I never saw that. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
My number 7 is Paris, Texas.
My number 7 is This Is Spinal Tap.
Good one.
And Blockbuster's number 7 is Romancing the Stone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Innocent enough.
Sure.
Number 6 is
Kathleen Turner steals the show. That's what it says.
She sure does.
Yeah.
Number 6 is The Killing Fields.
My number 6 is Blood Simple. Blockbuster's number 6 is Places in the Heart.
Oh, man.
All right. It does say it's some of Field's best work ever. Some of Sally Field's best work ever. That's saying something. And her Oscar speech for this role is perhaps the most famous ever. You like me. You really like me. So there you go.
So
I was right.
Go. Confirmation on that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good.
Heavy hitters. These are the grand slams, the slap shots, the three-pointers, the touchdowns, the curling when the puck gets close to the circle. These are the heavy hitters of the franchise. Heavy hitters.
This is Spinal Tap.
That's your number 5?
Yep.
Love it. My number 5 is Ghostbusters.
God.
Yeah, Blockbuster's number 5, Henry, is A Passage to India.
Wow.
All right, a very boring movie.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Is that an Ivory Merchant joint?
No, that's David Lean. It's a late David Lean movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, what's your number 4?
The Natural.
My number 4 is Stranger Than Paradise.
Ah, yeah.
Blockbuster's number 4 is Once Upon a Time in America. How about
Ooh.
that? Yeah. De Niro and Woods are tremendous in this, the uncut version, they specify that, of master director Leone's sprawling epic.
You're kind of on the same page as Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Makes sense you work there.
Once Upon a Time, it says, is the Jewish Godfather. I don't know if I agree with that.
Oh, the 80s. Number 3, Beverly Hills Cop.
My number 3 is Amadeus. That's right, Henry.
What's their number 3?
Blockbuster's number 3 is The Killing Fields.
Okay.
John Lennon's song Imagine figures prominently in one of the most touching denouements ever to grace the screen.
I agree with that statement.
Okay,
I do.
Great.
I agree with their eloquence there.
Yeah.
Number 2 for me is Blood Simple.
My number 2 is Paris, Texas.
All right.
And Blockbuster's number 2 is a movie I have never heard of called Choose Me. A younger version of Dr. Ruth on the radio, played by Genevieve Buchholz, a mental Romeo, Keith Carradine, and a bar owner, Leslie Ann Warren, are the subject of a dusk to dawn relationship study. There's a nice amalgamation of downbeat comedy and drama in this engaging and original movie. Teddy Pendergrass's music brings the soundtrack to life.
Teddy Pendergrass would probably be the only good thing about that, but yeah. Genevieve Buchholz.
That's right.
From Coma and from Tightrope.
I'd like to say that we are past This Is Spinal Tap Ghostbusters.
I already know what their number 1's going to be. So
yeah, I know you do. Okay.
Number 1 movie in 1984 is Ghostbusters.
And my number 1 is Once Upon a Time in America.
Yep.
All right. And Blockbuster's number 1 is, of course, Amadeus. The two leads give powerhouse performances, while Milos Forman supplies sharp direction against an elaborate Prague backdrop. Sheer excellence.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Henry hates that movie.
They can't get everything right.
Can be found in the drama category over there at your local Blockbuster, gang. Check it out.
Probably more of a comedy, but that's fine.
It is pretty funny. See, I think that's why I liked... No, not unintentionally. The reason I liked Amadeus so much, kind of, is because when I saw it as a kid, I, rented it thinking it was going to be, an important film, you know?
Oh, certainly not that.
No, and then I ended up liking how sort of off-kilter it is.
Right.
Yeah, left of center.
I think if they took one of your favorite heroes of all time and completely fucked up everything about him or her, you wouldn't be too happy either.
They will.
They will. They probably have.
I mean, like who?
I don't know. You'd have to tell me. One of your heroes.
I'm waiting for that Stan Lee biopic when he dies. That's going to be brutal.
Yeah. Might be.
Probably.
Okay, what movie we covering this week?
My hero, of course, is Dick Cheney, so I'm looking forward to that new Christian Bale movie coming out.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
What?
No.
Christian Bale gained 100 pounds, of course, because that's what he does, to play Dick Cheney.
Oh, wow.
In a new film by Adam McKay.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Oh, they worked together already, right? On The Big Short?
Yeah.
What'd you call it?
I almost called it The Big Chew, but that's a bubble gum.
Big League Chew.
Yeah.
I still buy that.
It is good. What's the best kind? 1, 2, 3. Grape.
I missed the count, but I like the grape, but I have to go with original.
Original's great. That'd be my second choice for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Gang, let's talk about Beverly Hills Cop. We're an hour into this podcast.
Yeah. Well, we only had one movie to cover, so.
Yeah, we've just been dicking around. I've been having a good time, Henry. How about you?
I have two. I have two.
You know what? When we were doing it, I never mentioned that the final screenplay ended up being written by a fellow named Daniel Petrie Jr.
Right.
All right.
That's right.
Now, he went on. He had like a little run there in the 80s. He wrote The Big Easy, which was kind of a big movie.
I love that movie. I saw that recently for the first time.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd always wanted to see it, and because I love like cop movies in New Orleans from that era, and I'd never seen it. And of course, it's got an incredible Ellen Barkin performance.
Okay. I love Ellen Barkin.
She is top of her game in that movie. Fucking great.
I'll say he also wrote Turner and Hooch. And by the 90s, it was rough going for Daniel Petrie Jr., and he wrote and directed a little Pauly Shore Andy Dick vehicle called In the Army Now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a great movie. Henry, it's probably the fourth best Pauly Shore movie.
Okay.
All right.
I'll take your word for
it. Here's the ranking, Henry.
I've only seen one.
That's crazy. Number 1, Encino Man.
That's what I saw.
Number 2, Biodome. Number 3, let's go with Son-in-Law.
Okay.
Number 4, In the Army Now.
Okay.
All right. And number 5, Jury Duty. There you have it. The top 5 Pauly Shore movies.
Essential list, essential viewing.
And I'll say I have watched 3 of those within the past year.
I totally believe you. Yeah.
Oh, what do I do with my life? All right. You want to talk about Beverly Hills Cop?
I think we should.
Okay. How's it start, Hank? First of all, man. I will say the opening credits in association with Eddie Murphy Productions.
Yeah.
Does that production house still exist, I wonder?
I don't know, man. Probably not. Love the opening credits. Loved it as a kid. Love that song by Glenn Frey, The Heat Is On. Still love it. Makes it appearance.
Is that the song that's playing early on in this movie?
The opening credits,
I kept wondering what the songs were because I know that Eddie Murphy had a singing career around this time.
Yeah. My girl wants to party all the time, party all the time, party all the time.
That's right, Party All the Time by Eddie Murphy. No joke, Henry, probably one of my top 20 favorite songs of all time.
I love that song.
I love that song so much that I made a short film in high school called 60% Communist, and the opening credits, I think? Yeah, the opening credits of this 40-minute short film, I had someone breakdancing over the entirety of that song.
Do you still own this film?
It's around.
I'd like to see that sometime. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the opening credits are great. It gives you a real atmosphere of Detroit playing under the great song.
It's one of those, right? It's a It sort of reminded me of Weekend at Bernie's. So Weekend at Bernie's starts with like a big montage of like how shitty New York is in the summertime. And that's why they want to like get out of New York, go to the beach. And and Eddie Murphy takes a similar tactic in this movie. He gets out of there. He goes to the coast. I can support that. They call them coastal elites because all the best people live on the coast. And, all right. So he's over there in Detroit. It's a shithole. And there's a big montage of all bad shit going on in Detroit. It's like crime. There's like a mugging. You see a guy just like hanging out on a stoop smoking weed. It's a bad town.
I never thought of it really that bad. I mean, it just shows that it's very unglamorous. They get you a little shot of the General Motors, I
thought it was setting up, this is dangerous. Axel Foley works in a dangerous town. And, it's one of the weird things about this movie because The title Beverly Hills Cop. Before I saw this movie, I didn't realize it was trying to be like cute and clever. I just thought it was like about a cop that works at Beverly Hills.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, like I really did. So like then when you see this movie, it's a cop coming from Detroit, and so the title's trying to tell you like it's an inner city cop who's like now in like the land of sunshine and celebrities. But I mean that's the title's weird to me because of that. I mean, it is a good title for a movie, undeniably. Beverly Hills Cop. Boom.
Yeah.
You want to see that. But I don't think it's as clever as the studio thought it was, probably, because I didn't really, understand it.
Never thought too much about the title.
To me, it would be like if they called, like, Crocodile Dundee, if it was like... if the movie was called, if that movie was called like California Adventurer, all right, you'd think it was about just an adventurer in California. It doesn't tell you anything about that he's from Australia.
Yeah, another franchise we got to cover.
Do we have to? I mean, yeah, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Paul Hogan just demands to be covered.
He really does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the opening credits. And then we're brought right into the thick of things with Axel Foley, our lead, making a deal on the back of a truck full of cigarettes, and he's trying to get these guys to buy this stolen truck of cigarettes and then nab them. And I love every line in that sequence. This movie is one of the movies we're covering, to me. I don't know if you'll agree or not, that is fucking perfectly cast in every role. And that goes even for those two guys who are driving the truck, especially the guy who has all the lines. I've seen him recur over and over again throughout the years.
I was shocked to see certain actors in this movie. It is one of those movies where like I was kind of expecting to recognize more people, but like everybody they do have in there kind of works. And frankly, it's one of these. It's a movie that's pretty fucking low key. Like it's such a light little movie where and it's not even going totally out there with comedy. It's not going totally out there with action. It's just sort of watchable for an hour and 45 minutes and then gets out of there. But like it just tells you a nice story and you're always having a nice time watching it. And so like they just fill the roles with guys like, you know, fucking whoever, you know, Ronnie Cox and Gilbert R. Hill, and
who will get to him.
Yeah, but, okay. Yeah. And Paul Reiser in the early going when they're still in Detroit.
Yeah. So the bust doesn't work, and the cops they try to run. So there's only really two action sequences in the movie, and one's at the beginning and one's at the end. And that truck chase, I've always thought was hilarious, and it was another example in the movie. I thought that first of all, I'm going to say right now, I remember I owned this soundtrack as a kid on tape.
All right. Well, I mean,
loved it.
It was a big really soundtrack. Yeah. Harold Faltermeyer, who is a person I believe just apparated into existence on New Year's Day of 1980 and then disapparated on New Year's Eve 1989. He does the score, and he's just messing around on a guitar for an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, but it's great.
It's bonkers.
It's great. And, I recall him from when we covered Fletch.
And you'll recall I'd never seen Fletch and absolutely loved the music in Fletch.
Right.
And it's even better here in Beverly Hills Cop. That Axel F theme really does silently, weirdly tell you everything you need to know about that character somehow.
It's great.
It's kind of mischievous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got all, and at the right moments, he does different things with it, little subtle things. And
yes, my favorite being do 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 do.
Okay.
You know that part?
No.
What are you talking about?
I think you're talking about the dun 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 dun.
That's not what I'm talking about. No, because it goes do 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 do.
Right.
And then sometimes it takes a second and it goes do 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 do.
Oh yeah. Okay. Right. I got you.
Was that the best part of this podcast so far?
So we get the Pointer Sisters in that sequence, the big truck sequence, which really, I have to say, for $15 million, a pretty impressive truck chase. I know it's not your thing.
No, Marty Brest, he's a pro. Hey, we never finished Martin Brest's filmography because we got caught up on Son of a Woman. But after that, he did, of course, Meet Joe Black and then Geely, which ended his career.
That was it for that. Yeah.
Geely. Have you ever seen Geely?
No.
You should, man.
I followed everyone's.
It's so fucking good.
Yeah, I mean, 15 years on, I should probably check it out.
Who's playing a retarded guy in that movie?
I don't know,
you know what
man.
I'm talking? Oh, you know who it fucking is, dude? Justin Bartha.
Really?
Justin Bartha, Martha Crable's love.
Right.
Is playing. He's going full retard, as Tropic Thunder likes to say in that movie, and it is rough.
Mm-hmm. Well, now I want to see it.
Yeah. Okay, you should. All right, so it's a car chase. I don't like car chases.
I know you don't, but it's a pretty impressive semi-truck chase. Lots of shit gets blown up, but like you said, it's pre Don Simpson, Jerry Bruckheimer, like The Rock and Armageddon. So it's kind of more realistic in a weird way because it's not like shit is not like exploding left and right, and you can really just, the music is the main part and it makes it funny. It makes it funnier, and Axel's like holding on to the chains in the back of the cab. I mean, I think it's funny. Anyway, he comes home and he sees his friend Michael Tandino, and who's used to be a ex-con and worked in Beverly Hills, comes back with some German bearer bonds that he stole. They go out to a bar, get drunk, come back. And then we meet
Jonathan Banks. All right.
Yeah.
So I could not believe Jonathan Banks was in this.
Did you not know that ahead of time? Okay.
And I recognized him.
Sure.
Even though he looks totally different. All right. So Jonathan Banks, Mike Ehrmantraut from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Did you watch the premiere?
Fuck yeah.
Great. He is sort of playing a heavy in this movie. Shocker of all shockers.
Right.
And he murders Eddie Murphy's friend.
Yeah.
And he's really good in this movie. He has like a totally different voice and demeanor. He's like playing a heavy, but of different kind of heavy.
I agree. And I always remember, not so much now, but kind of still, when I watched it, I actually watched it last night. I remember being very disturbed by the way they kill Mikey. Like, it's just very, I don't know how I would like your opinion on that scene, because because you just saw it essentially. And I always found it very unsettling. Like he's telling him it's okay, just don't ever show your face in Beverly Hills. You stole this shit, and he's kind of like reassuring him. And up to that point, the movie's been pretty light, and then he just punches him in the stomach. And then we get like a long hallway shot, and he just like executes him.
Yeah.
Just like there's no music, and it's just kind of like very silent, and it's sad,
Well, it adds. It's the inciting incident of this film,
right?
And so for Axel, who's a pretty fly by the seat of his pants kind of guy, who didn't even seem that tight with this guy, like they were friends like years and years ago or whatever.
Yeah. They grew up together.
Yeah. And I forgot all that backstory about like Axel Foley's like tough childhood.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think you do kind of need to have some weight on that scene.
You needed more weight, or
no. It had the proper weight.
Yeah, I agree. And since we're going forward, we actually skipped one of my favorite scenes in the movie, which was when he gets back from that truck chase and his boss, Inspector Todd, comes down and screams at him, and then that's the Paul Reiser scene.
Wait, is that the locker room scene?
Oh my god,
that was actually one of my favorite scenes in the movie. And I'm a big fan of angry chiefs in movies.
You're say again, sorry.
I'm a fan of angry chiefs.
Yeah, well, he's
movies.
like the best.
Yeah, he's not the best.
Ooh, it's close. Well, do you know about that guy?
No.
All right, so Martin Brest was just looking around in the Detroit precinct when they were like kind of casting and just wanted to get a feel for what it was like there because it was filmed there. And he was talking to this guy who was a homicide detective. And the guy was like talking to him and he's like, "Do you have any interest in being in a movie?"
That's crazy. Did
he
ever act again?
Nope. He did these 3 Beverly Hills Cop movies and that's it.
That's crazy.
And then he became like the mayor of Detroit, I think, in the 90s.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So he was just like, and he said afterward, that's pretty much how I am, except I don't swear as much. And he just thought this guy had something. And
he does have something.
Never knew that all these years. Never knew that. And
he lost the mayoral election.
Okay. So, yeah. So when I was learning that really made it very enjoyable because the guy is so good. That scene is so fucking funny. I mean, so many memorable lines and just the rapport and with Axel, it's just great.
And Paul Reiser's hysterical in that scene.
Oh, he is
fiddling with the locker behind
this
them.
This is not my locker.
Yeah. Paul Reiser, he's like an old man now, and like people make fun because Mad About You was a sitcom and shit. But I've always liked Paul Reiser. I think he is great in Aliens and
he's unbelievable.
A lot of movies in the 80s. And I think he's also him in Mad About You, I think is one of the best sitcom performances ever. I love Mad About You. I think it's like if like Woody Allen made a 90s sitcom, it'd be Mad About You.
Yeah, I remember when it was on, but I don't remember anything about it.
I've rewatched it, and I love that show, and it totally works because of Reiser and Helen Hunt. And
well, he's still around though, right? I mean, he was really good in Whiplash.
Yeah, he pops up and shit, but like I feel like he tried to have a show a few years ago that was like Curb Your Enthusiasm, but Paul Reiser. That was terrible, and I just don't. I wish he would show up in more stuff because I think Paul Reiser, if you use him properly, is a really valuable actor.
Yeah, I agree. Though he does need to be used properly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think a little of him goes a long way. So
he was the star of Mad About You.
Right.
I do think he can star in shit.
Yeah.
Maybe not anymore.
Well, but he's great in Beverly Hills Cop, and so is Gilbert. Was it Gilbert Hall? I think, yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, Inspector Todd. So anyway, Eddie packs up and drives his shitty car out.
Before we get there,
Beverly
I want to
Hills.
say there's a line about Johnny Bananas, Henry.
Love that fucking.
What is that?
I don't know. I've never looked for the reference, but I always
remind me of how it comes up.
He said the hoodlum says to Axel, he's like. Hey, just take the $2,000. You're not dealing with Johnny Bananas here. And he goes, "No, I know I ain't dealing with Johnny Bananas, but and that's all it is. Yeah, it's just a quick throwaway line."
First of all, a lot of banana talk in this movie.
Never occurred to me.
Second of all, currently and for years on MTV's fine reality television program, The Challenge, there is a fella who goes by the name Johnny Bananas.
Huh.
And that's just what people call him, and he wears shorts sometimes that have bananas on them, and, he's an okay TV character. And what I want to ask to my reality TV friends out there that have been watching this show longer than I have, is that a Beverly Hills Cop reference?
It might be.
It might be.
I mean, it might be, unless Johnny Bananas was like an old character or something like that, from something in the 50s or 60s. I don't
think this dude would be making that reference. He's like 30.
Yeah, but, well, I don't know. What I'm trying to say is I don't know if it was like some sort of cultural reference to something. I have no idea.
Oh, if Beverly Hills Cop was referencing something.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I don't know. All right.
Good question.
It's a great question, Henry. Let's go. He's out in Beverly Hills. And he tries to get into this hotel that's like a fancy schmancy hotel, like the one in like Pretty Woman or something. I was expecting Hector Elizondo to pop up. And they won't let him in, and so he accuses them of racism and uses the N-word. And, it's not a bad scene, but it's something that has been copied to the high heavens so much in the intervening years. If you watch any Rush Hour movie or literally any Martin Lawrence movie ever,
right?
Like there's at least one scene that's exactly the scene.
Well, I think you're right, and I think that this movie was probably the template for that.
I think you're probably right. It's just been so diluted that
it's true.
It was difficult for me to find amusement in this scene.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of with you there. There was always, I thought, a standout sequence, but then when I saw it, I mean, I still laughed, but more at like the more subtle things afterwards, like when he gets the room and he's like signing the paper and he's like, If Michael calls, tell him what room I'm in. That.
That's all right. Yeah, because he says he's there for Rolling Stone to interview Michael Jackson, which is funny, man. It's like Thriller era Michael Jackson.
Yeah, very funny.
You ever see National Security, Henry?
Is that with Martin Lawrence?
Yeah, it's a Martin Lawrence movie.
No.
That movie, legitimately, I think the pitch for that movie was, that scene in Eddie Murphy where he checks into the hotel? Yeah. That, but over and over again, the entire movie.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably what a lot of the pitches for Rush Hour were, too, for Tucker's character.
Interesting you mentioned Rush Hour, because I thought of Rush Hour a few times during this movie, because Eddie Murphy never really has a proper partner in this movie. In my head, I always remembered it as being Judge Reinhold. But it's not. Like, Judge Reinhold is one of two cops that are assigned to tail Eddie Murphy while he's in Beverly Hills. It's him and the other fellow is John Ashton, right?
Yes.
And they're great. They have good chemistry together. They have good chemistry with Eddie Murphy. But he doesn't really have like one guy. And I was thinking about it because the performance is like a bit of a one-man show in the way that Chris Tucker's is in Rush Hour. But in Rush Hour, Chris Tucker is playing off of Jackie Chan. That's the dynamic. It's the the mouth of the West versus the whatever the fuck they said in that fucking trailer. So it was kind of an interesting thing because he doesn't really have anyone to play off of. He's just but you know what? It makes the writers have to work harder. And I think part of the strength of the movie is all Eddie Murphy's doing in this movie is playing off of any given situation.
That's right.
So what they're doing is they have to work harder to give Eddie Murphy situations that it might be funny to see him react to.
That's true. And I think that two things on that point. I think, one, a lot of that is improvisation. And I think two of it, the second point, would be that he was just so fucking talented that they weren't worried about it. Like, there'd be a lot of actors, I think, where if you tried that, we're like, oh, yeah, just go do your thing. The results.
And it's funny because he's the reverse of that now. Like, at this point, like Eddie Murphy requires you to tell him exactly what to do, what marks to hit, which 2 hours he has to show up on set any given day. It's really weird. Do you remember him at SNL 40, Henry?
Yes.
They made such a big deal, like Eddie Murphy is going to be on, and they didn't write him anything, and then he just like got on stage for a second and was like, "Hey, I'm Eddie Murphy. It's great to be here."
Yeah,
and like he didn't do anything.
No, it's very strange. I don't know, man. I don't really understand Eddie Murphy's psyche for the last 20 years or whatever, but especially the last right now and. I don't know.
Why doesn't he just retire? He has enough money.
He could retire, but I think what would be cool, honestly, would be like a stand-up special. I think if he was up for it and felt like he had the material, I would. Yeah,
people have been saying that for years, and I think Netflix has to have offered him like fucking $100 million. That's what they do now. Right. They got Chappelle back, but I just don't think he wants to. Like, he doesn't put any effort into his work anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. That SNL thing was very disappointing and very strange. I mean, I didn't honestly expect much. So when it happened,
I was expecting him to tell a couple fucking jokes. He didn't tell a single joke. And then the camera just stayed on him for a while because I guess they were expecting him to do something more. And then he said something like, "Hey, go to commercial, go to commercial."
Oh, right. Yeah. Very awkward.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Can't wait for that Triplets movie.
Oh, God, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he goes in, visits the art gallery, where he gets to meet Bronson Pinchot.
I had a little bit of a problem with this because I remember as a kid thinking this was the funniest scene in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Bronson Pinchot. I watched every episode of Perfect Strangers.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was a kid too when I was. Yeah, but no. It's still pretty fucking funny.
I actually think he's funnier when he pops up again later in the movie.
That's very funny.
But but he's doing like a foreign gay stereotype.
Yeah, completely.
And it's honestly not a far cry from Jeremy Piven in Rush Hour 2, was it?
Really? You think that?
Yeah, I do. I think it's
but that
better.
It's not original in any way. You know, this was just so fucking out there.
I don't think it is. I think it's sort of like an Andy Kaufmanized version of like Desi Arnaz.
Desi Arnaz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's funny. I mean, they did talk about it in the documentary that, and this isn't surprising. I hate to say this about Eddie Murphy, but you know, they did say that it was one of the only scenes in the movie where there was where Eddie could not get through a take because he was laughing so hard because he's apparently very hard to break up.
Mm-hmm. But if there's one thing Eddie Murphy finds funny, it's the idea that someone could possibly be homosexual.
Yeah, it's true.
And, yeah, nobody hates gay people more than Eddie Murphy. It's like number 1, Eddie Murphy, number 2, Trump. And what? It's true. Number 3, David Duke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look,
he's more focused on blacks and Jews. Let's be honest.
Yeah, come on. I mean, I guess I've seen the movie so many times. I was just desensitized to that.
But I was thinking about that during the movie. Like, so on the one hand, you've got Bronson Pinchot, who's this dude who turned out to be a real asshole if you read interviews with him.
Is that right?
Yeah. He's doing this weird thing, and then like they're cutting to Eddie Murphy reacting to it, and in my head, I know like Eddie Murphy's probably one of his top 3 most used words in the world is faggot, right. And he uses faggot in this movie, Henry.
Does he?
I forgot this. It's very, very quick. It's when he gets taken in by the Beverly Hills Cop police. The scene before this is great when he like goes in to like see
Victor Maitland's office.
Yeah, for the first time, and they throw him through a window. and then he gets arrested.
Right.
And hit even after they discover he's a cop, which I thought was kind of interesting, a little commentary.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But then when they take him back to the police office,
yeah,
he's like making fun of the policeman and shit and being his usual Eddie Murphy self, and he's funny for most of that scene. And then one of the dudes punches him in the chest.
Taggart clocks him in the stomach, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And as he walks out of the scene, he says really fast, "Pretty good punch you got there, faggot." No. Yes.
Taggart.
No.
Yes. Taggart. Pretty.
Really?
His name is Taggart.
Oh no! Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm 100% sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty good punch you got there, Taggart.
All right. Listen.
Yeah.
Well, then, first of all, I'm sorry for using that word. I thought I was quoting.
Okay.
It's a fucking horrible word.
Yeah.
And second of all, good. That makes me feel honestly better about the whole movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what he says. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Because he says his name throughout the movie, and it's always Rosewood and Taggart.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Which one's Taggart?
There you go.
All right. Which one's Taggart?
John Ashton.
That's John Ashton. Okay, fucking cool. Great.
Taggart.
Taggart.
The way
Okay.
he says it.
Yeah, got it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so after this, he's trying to lose Judge Reinhold and Taggart. And
that's also to me. Just one more thing on that. That's really interesting. That would change your opinion not only of the movie, but of the character development and the relationship between them.
Yes.
Because it's right off the bat clear that there's some antagonism, but there's also some respect.
Yeah, mutual respect.
Yeah, I mean, the line, pretty good punch you got there, Taggart, and the fact that he doesn't press charges and all that. So, yeah, that would radically change.
It honestly, for a while there, I was thinking this was a much mean-spirited movie than it is. It loses that. Like, the whole movie is kind of just, like I was saying, a breezy watch. But yeah, I did not like that, but I was wrong. Okay. Yeah. So he puts bananas in the tailpipe.
Yes.
All right, listen, that is funny. That is undeniably funny, Henry. I don't know. Something about bananas in the tailpipe to me is great.
It's fucking hilarious. He orders them a supper from the hotel. It's great interaction between Taggart and
Is
Rosewood.
This the scene with Damon Wayans?
Yes.
Fucking Damon! I couldn't believe my eyes. Damon Wayans showing up in a movie in 1984.
Right. I mean, well, that sequence could be interpreted as pretty offensive because we all know that Damon Wayans got a lot of mileage out of like over the top
gay tropes.
Character. Yes.
I know, but that guy who wears with the little he plays that character with the little hat.
Oh, that's not offensive.
That's funny. I mean, it is offensive. I haven't seen it in years, but I used to think that was very funny.
Right. Men on Film, I think it was called. Yeah.
Is that the character?
Not
right. He's talking about movies. I forgot that.
Yeah, him and David Alan Grier.
Yeah. David Alan Grier is great.
Yeah. But it is funny, and it's great when they stall out, and most of the sequences with Rosewood and Taggart were also improvised in the car when they're waiting. It's hilarious.
Judge Reinhold's really funny in this movie.
Oh, he's so good.
He's so understated. I forgot that. Like, he's just sort of just like shy, unassuming cop.
Yep.
Yeah. He's awesome in this movie. Like, honestly, like Eddie Murphy's the undeniable MVP of this movie. But like, you could make a case for a lot of people.
You really could.
Judge Reinhold.
You can make a case for Reinhold. You can make a case for Inspector Todd. You can make a case for Ashton. I honestly love the villain. Always have. Victor Maitland.
The villain's just okay to me.
I love him. The great Stephen Burkhoff. He was in a great English actor from Clockwork Orange and Barry Lyndon, and he's also like a playwright. It's crazy.
Really interesting.
Yeah. That's what he's mostly.
I love when playwrights show up and shit randomly. Like a big recommend for me is that show Succession on HBO. And like halfway through the season, all of a sudden Eric Bogosian started showing up in it. And I was like, all right.
I love Bogosian.
Yeah. Okay, so bananas is great. I will say one of my favorite jokes in the Clerks animated series is a dream sequence in which I forget who it is. Maybe Randall. Like just like dreams he's hanging out with Axel Foley, putting bananas in tailpipes and laughing. But that's all they're doing.
That's great.
Yeah. It's. What? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we didn't mention his friend, his female friend, who I think is very fun. The Lisa Eilbacher.
Yeah, she's my LVP, Henry.
I figured she would be.
You need a better female lead in this movie. She can't act. That's the problem.
I think she's very charming and funny.
I do think she's charming. Like, I don't really have a big problem with her or anything. She's fine in this movie, but like, it could have benefited from a stronger actor. There are a couple of line readings that are just fucking stiff, as apparently your dick was when you were a kid watching this.
But one of the funny things about the movie too, one of the funniest things that I never really I knew it, but it just kind of really hit home, is I love that he keeps getting arrested. He keeps showing up at the police station, and it just becomes really funny. Like Ronnie Cox does that so well. Like he just keeps showing up, and Ronnie.
I loved the scene where he comes up with this huge elaborate lie to Ronnie Cox, and John Ashton like flouts his lie and tells the truth, and Eddie Murphy turns to him and just says, "Hey, you wasted a perfectly good lie."
It's fucking brilliant. All improvised by Eddie.
That's hilarious.
Story.
That is great. And
they couldn't get through
the callback to it at the end of the movie is, I think, maybe my favorite moment in the entire fucking movie. I cheered on my couch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which was
when he comes up with that elaborate lie and to the head of the whole Beverly Hills Police Department.
Oh yes.
And Ronnie Cox confirms the lie.
No, Ashton confirms the lie.
Oh,
Ronnie Cox.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
you're right. It's fucking great.
Yeah, I loved that.
Great. I mean that. Yeah, and I did not think he'd bring up the documentary, but it was cool for me because I didn't know any of that. But I didn't know Eddie improvised that whole sequence, and Judge Reinhold. Nobody could get through it because it was so funny, and Judge Reinhold is apparently in that sequence doing everything he can to not laugh. And if you remember the sequence, Ashton keeps pinching his nose out of seeming discomfort at the bullshit of the lie, but he's really just trying not to laugh.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And so it's great. Yeah. That's a great sequence. Super Cops.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And then there's, the replacement cops, of course, the very famous reiteration of the banana in the tailpipe line, which still makes me laugh.
What's that?
Remind me. Time. Well, he's looking at Victor Maitland's house, and the new team shows up, the new cops, and he's like, "What y'all, the second team?" And the white guy's like, "We're the first team." And then the black guy cop goes, "And we're not going to fall for a banana in the tailpipe." And Eddie just reiterates this line, "You're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe."
Yeah, I mean that was comedy in the early '80s, Henry. God. Everyone's a smart aleck.
Right. That's right. Well, it's true. You're right. It's true. Yeah. But it's just so funny. Oh God. And it's just over though. That's the difference. It's not. I feel like that would be just beaten to death, as it is in a Rush Hour or a lot of things today. It's just a throwaway line. It's so fucking funny. The camera lets Eddie just kind of just say, I'm sorry. That's funny to me. There's a lot of that stuff they let Eddie do, which I think is great. And just kind of linger on.
Right. That's funny to me. I did like that moment.
Yeah. And he does that.
It makes the character more real.
Absolutely. And there's a couple of scenes like that,
One thing Carter Bays and Craig Thomas, this is totally out of left field, but they're the creators of How I Met Your Mother.
Okay.
And one thing I heard them say in an interview once was, we always wanted our characters to laugh at each other's jokes because in other sitcoms, you'll watch them and everyone's saying really funny shit because the audience is supposed to find them funny, but no one's reacting to them as jokes.
Right.
And they said, we think it's just so much more fun to watch a cast of characters that think each other are funny.
Right.
And I think this movie has a little bit of that. Everyone's just sort of amused by each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And, it's one of the first, well, I guess maybe the first truly comedic cop movie, where as opposed to Death Wish, or not that he's a cop, but you know what I mean? They're usually I think that was a big deal, and I think that making it comedy, and you mentioned about it being an action, you kind of wish it was more of a comedy, straight up. But I pretty much always still view, and even on last night's viewing, still view it. It's pretty much a comedy.
It is, but I mean, it's the kind of thing where the actual mystery of who the villain is and the shootout at the end, it has some good comedy moments, but all the stuff with the cocaine and the coffee grounds hiding
up the drama a little bit. Yeah,
it's just so perfunctory to me.
I didn't. Yeah, I can see why one would think
you have to have it because you need a plot in the movie.
Right.
But nothing about that is interesting. The only interesting stuff in this movie is just the vibe.
Yeah, but I mean, even that shootout sequence just has another throwaway line by obviously the great exchange between Rosewood and Taggart when they're Rosewood's they're getting shot at, and Rosewood's quoting like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. You know, he's like,
Yeah.
I feel like. But there's like another great line that Ashton has, which I love. I noticed it before, but just it made it more funny because of like the situation. Like they're going into like it's so ridiculous. They're like they break into the grounds of like a Beverly Hills compound, and these guys just start shooting them like it's a fucking act, like crazy over the top.
It's like fucking Cobra.
Right, and at the first time they run and huddle and get together, Murphy and Ashton are just huddling, and Ashton just goes, Jesus.
I know, that's great.
Like, yeah, these guys are serious, and it's just like, yeah, they're pretty serious. Like, who would react like that?
I love when Eddie Murphy finally kills Jonathan Banks and shit, and there's only like 2 guys left with machine guns, and Judge Reinhold says that they're under arrest, and they actually surrender. Yeah. Like the satisfied look on Judge Reinhold's face is so funny to me.
Yeah. Good job, Billy.
Yeah. Henry, I'd like to point out that mansion where the shootout took place, accidentally and just totally randomly, I watched 2 movies in 2 consecutive days where the final shootout was shot at that mansion.
Really?
It's so fucking weird.
What movie?
Commando.
Wow.
I watched
haven't seen that in years.
I watched Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and at the end of that movie, he and Ray Don Chong take a seaplane to this like private island.
I remember that.
He can like kill all the guys, and he's got like 1,000 weapons with him. He just like he has to rescue his daughter, Alyssa Milano, and he goes in there, and the whole thing takes place at this mansion that's owned by the villain, and it's the same mansion.
Wow, man.
Yeah, I even looked it up to check.
Well, I imagine you would have to confirm that. Yeah, wow.
And here's something I couldn't find. It looks like one of the levels from Twisted Metal 3. If anyone knows that, let me know.
It's a great mansion.
Yeah. So fucking weird. I watched like Commando one night, and then like Commando. The next morning I watched Beverly Hills Cop, and I was like, what am I looking at here?
Commando is the one where there's a big shootout in the mall too, right?
Yes.
That's
that
great.
movie, by the way, is 90 minutes. It never lets up. It's fucking great.
That's Schwarzenegger Prime.
Yeah, Prime Schwartz.
Yeah. Oh, well. So anyway, we get that great lie at the end, and I mean, there's so much to say. But
and then he checks out of the hotel,
that's a great sequence,
and
too.
Reinhold and John Ashton show up to see him off, and Eddie Murphy steals, he asks for robes for them, and John Ashton says, "You can have my robe," and Eddie Murphy says, "I already have 3 in my bag."
By the way, the checkout clerk is Martin Brest.
I did know that, yeah.
Yeah. It's a great scene. I love that. And then just a nice little callback to when he takes him for a drink the first time in the strip club.
Mm-hmm.
And,
that's right. There's a strip club scene. That's kind of just out of the blue. It's just like a male bonding kind of sequence.
Yeah, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But not even for the line. Again, this movie for me, there's a lot of the lines that are the punchlines that aren't the funniest part. Like, again, there's another throwaway line by Eddie when, like, after he does like the funny stuff about being in a strip club, he orders drinks, and when the drinks come, he's like, make sure you get the drinks right, because if I drink club soda, I'll throw up, you know. And it's like completely covered by the music, but it's just really funny, you know.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying about the movie is like the plot, like the point A to point B, point C is totally incidental. Like the stuff that works in this movie is the stuff on the edges.
It's an Eddie Murphy vehicle.
It sure is. It sure is. Yeah, it's the best. No, it's the second best solo Eddie Murphy vehicle.
What would be the best?
Coming to America, right? That's no one
really
else's.
Solo. I mean,
Arsenio Hall?
He has a lot of time with him. I'm just saying.
That's true. Arsenio Hall's all over that fucking movie.
He really is. I mean, I'd love to give that to you, but he really is all over that movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
Arsenio.
All right. Woo, 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 woo.
All right.
I'm
happy.
You know, Arsenio Hall won a season of The Celebrity Apprentice.
I believe that's the one we watched together.
Is it?
Yeah, because it came down to him and Penn, right? Penn.
Oh, that might be right. Yeah.
I think that's.
So yeah, our Arsenio, he won, and there you have it. Our president made him the Celebrity Apprentice.
I wish we could have made Arsenio Hall the president.
What's better, when Arsenio won the Celebrity Apprentice, or when Bill Clinton played sax on the Arsenio show?
Oh, that was fucking great. So I remember that. I watched that, dude, on TV.
Wow,
Yeah.
good for you. All right. Let's wrap it up. What do you give this movie?
5 stars.
I knew you would. I'm going for it.
All right, I'm happy with that.
I know. There was like a period of time when I was watching it where I was feeling like a 3, and then I was just like enjoying myself so much that I knew if I gave it a 3, I'd be mad at myself for being a contrarian. It was almost like I could feel myself being too hard on the movie just because it's like a classic movie.
Right. I mean, you could pick it apart, but I think it's just so perfect for what it sets out to do, and it's just so great, you know. I do have a 5 count on the superhero.
Wait, who's your MVP?
My MVP is Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, mine too. Okay, and who's your LVP?
I didn't have one.
Oh, come on.
I'm not trying to think. I was going to leave it on the show. We do that sometimes. So, I mean, you gave it to the girl.
Yeah. The girl. See, that's how you have to talk about her, because her only reason for being in this is to have a girl in the movie.
I don't know. I mean, I like her, so it wouldn't be her, and I don't go through that movie and find a bad performance. I mean, even when he breaks into the warehouse was a scene we didn't talk about, you know, and fakes being a customs agent, and all those character actors are great.
That scene is almost exactly the same as the scene in Better Call Saul this week with Jonathan Banks.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's right. He's bullshitting his way through. That's right. It's very funny.
Yeah.
Maybe Banks had a little say in that. Yeah, I did this movie back 34 years ago.
I don't know if you've heard of it, Beverly Hills Cop.
He would say something like that.
I know.
I've seen him in interviews. He's so cool. I don't know, man. I don't have an LVP.
All right, fine.
Can't be the car because I love his car, too.
Henry's LVP is the Golden Globe Awards for giving one over there to Dudley Moore.
You know what? You got it.
All right.
That's a great choice. I mean, that is insane when you think back on that.
It's crazy. Yeah, I know.
4 were
Eddie
in there.
Murphy, Robin Williams, Steve Martin, and Bill Murray. Who's the best? None of those. Dudley Moore.
Oh, craziness.
So funny. Okay. Let's hear that theme. Okay.
So these were interesting because there was a lot of stuff that I wasn't expecting. Judge Reinhold was in the 70s live-action Linda Carter Wonder Woman.
Playing who?
Jeffrey Gordon.
Commissioner Gordon's brother.
That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
And he was also in the 2005 Teen Titans cartoon as Negative Man.
I'm sure that's a character.
Yeah. Another one, your girl Lisa Eilbacher
Sure.
was in 2 live-action TV shows, too. She was in the 1970s The Amazing Spider-Man.
Playing who?
Judy Tyler.
I don't think so.
Go ahead.
Okay.
And in the 1974 live-action TV show, which I did not know ever existed, I think it was just a TV movie, Shazam.
Yeah, I think that I've seen like that on DVD or something.
Wow. She played Kathy Moore, whoever that is.
Sure. You excited for that new Shazam movie?
No.
Zachary Levi.
Yeah, I'm really not, to be honest. Yeah,
I saw the Aquaman trailer again yesterday. Boy, that looks great. It looks so great. Man, we get to see a lot of his parents. What a shocker.
It looks atrocious.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I had a great tweet yesterday, Henry, about the DC universe.
What was that?
This occurred to me. Henry, casting Ben Affleck to play Superman. I mean, but casting Ben Affleck to play Batman in the new DC universe Here's the Marvel equivalent. If Marvel cast Brandon Routh to play Thor.
Wow. That is interesting.
Right?
I get it.
Because
Yeah.
Ben Affleck failed in the Batman analog Daredevil.
Right.
And Brandon Routh failed, as much as I love that movie, in the Thor analog Superman.
Yeah, but I never blamed Ben Affleck for what happened.
I mean, nor did I, but
Right.
interesting choice.
Right, sure. Yeah, well, they got that's happened before with Chris, what's his face? Chris Evans, right? The failed Fantastic Four, and then he becomes Captain America.
Speaking of the Chris's, Chris Pine had a contract dispute with Paramount on Star Trek 4, and he's bowing out.
Is he really?
Yeah.
That's too bad, because I really liked him in that role.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, well. All right. This third one had come up before when we did Deep Blue Sea 2, I believe. Ronnie Cox was in the live-action Captain America from 1990.
How about that?
Yeah, a lot of live action.
Who did he play?
Tom Kimball.
All right, the great Tom Kimball. Who else?
Bronson Pinchot, of course, was in Lois and Clark.
As Balky?
Might as well. The Prankster.
Oh, that's dynamite. I want to see that episode.
Yeah. And last but not least, I didn't include him, and then I figured I think I did before. So Damon Wayans, of course, Blank Man.
Oh, the great Damon Wayans is Blank Man, sure.
Yep.
All right, that's it. That's it for this week, Henry. For fuck's sake.